Hey, good evening. It is Saturday evening, March 10th. It's actually the day we spring ahead. So it's time to spring ahead with your metabolism, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. It's an exciting subject. We're going to be covering some great information today, so don't miss it. And we are going to get started right away. This is truly an exciting subject. It's one of my favorite things to say. It's talk about. It's my favorite things to talk about, favorite subjects, and it's about your metabolism. And it's because it's so critically important. So I definitely want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to hear this information. So if you miss it on this Saturday evening, we'll post it onto our YouTube pages and we'll leave it up on our Facebook pages. And if you, as always, if you have any questions at all, make sure you put them down below and we will definitely address those questions and make sure that you have everything you need to be the best that you can possibly be. So with that said, let's get started and talk about your metabolism, because what we want to learn tonight is a little bit about how to revitalize your metabolism naturally. So I'm going to talk about really what is the metabolism. I want to make sure you understand exactly what it is. We're going to talk about signs if it's off course, pitfalls, and the strategies that people are doing today, thinking that they're going to do something better for themselves, and then what to do to get back on track. What are the top things you can do and take action steps to change and transform how your metabolism is running. So let's move forward and let's talk about the metabolism. What does it do? How many would actually, if you asked them on the street, what does your metabolism do? I would be so excited to hear all the answers that we would get, because a lot of people don't really understand truly what the metabolism is. It actually is defined as the chemical processes that occur within your body that maintain life. What that means is it does everything in the body. It's involved in every single thing that happens to maintain the life and the vibrance that you have as who you are. And that is a huge component and a huge thing to make sure you understand it's healthy. And so it's a major player, and we have to take actions to get that to its best. So if we understand that, it's involved in hormones. It's involved in protein synthesis. It's involved in cellular function in the body. It's involved in all the systems, the immune, the endocrine, the hormonal, the digestive. I'm probably hitting on a lot of things right now that are talking about things that you may have struggles with and problems with. This is all part of what your body controls with the metabolism. It's everything. And it's such a big component that most things that we do really don't attach themselves to fixing the metabolism. They're attached to fixing a single problem that we have. And we've got to change our strategy to get great success and greater latitudes of long-term health. So it's very important to understand that. So one of the big questions I always get is, how do I know I'm off course? How do I know my metabolism is not at its peak and it's not functioning the best that it possibly can? Here's some great signs that I love to cover as to what you're going to experience when your metabolism is not running properly. Ongoing fatigue, when you're tired, when you have periods of the day that you're tired repeatedly. These are signs that your metabolism is not actually managing cellular function, cellular energy, and how your body is digesting protein and nutrients for fuel. Fuel management's not working properly. A lot of things are happening just with fatigue. So it's one big sign that the metabolism, hey, there's a flag. It's not running properly. We've got some big issues we need to address. If you feel cold or hot all the time, if you have poor body temperature control, that's another major component as to what could be going on in the body. If the body can't manage temperature, it is a major part of how your body functions. It's huge to understand that being cold all the time or being hot all the time, it actually has hormonal conditions that are involved with it. Pressure, blood pressure, blood system, cardiovascular system, all these things are involved in that system of control. So we could have a lot of issues going on in that could be affecting how your body is functioning. So that's a major player, and another major sign that your metabolism is not running properly. If you have thinning hair, there's a lot of reasons why that can occur. Poor digestive control in the body, poor nutrient synthesis. That's one of the major players. Stress, excessive cortisol, starvation. That's another thing. One of the things that the body will do is it'll start taking proteins and things like that from things that are not necessary for life. There's a lot of things that could be happening in the body when you have thinning hair. It's another signal, another red flag that metabolism needs to be looked at. When you take a look at dry skin, and I'm talking dry skin all over the place, when you have a lot of dry skin and it's really unexplained, that's another sign that there's some poor nutrients, there's some poor control in the body, and the metabolism is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Low libido. This is another thing that I talk actually surprisingly with a lot of patients. Low libido is another big sign. I mean, we know that libido has a lot to do with hormonal control. It has a lot to do with serotonin and norepinephrine and dopamine, and there's so many different things that are involved in that process, and the metabolism controls that. So it's very important to understand that that's yet again another signal something is wrong with the bigger picture, the metabolism, and I'll talk about that a lot later. Irregular periods, yet another good sign. Kind of related to low libido, irregular periods are part of the sexual reproductive system in a female, and when those periods are irregular and not actually on time, different feelings while you're on the process, large bloating, those are all signs that this system is not optimized and it's not running, and it's affecting the metabolism or being affected by a metabolism that's not running properly. Let me say that more clearly. Slow growing fingernails or brittle fingernails. Amazing, but yet, yes, this is a soft tissue growth, and this is something that can really affect how your body is running and understanding how your metabolism is functioning. So it's another big sign. Sleeping issues. A lot of people in America today have tons of sleeping issues, and so many people assign it to, you know what? Adrenals. And it's only a single little part of the whole body. We covered adrenals actually in a talk last month. If you haven't seen that, catch it. It's great information. But that is just a signal. If you're having a problem with sleeping, that is a signal that your metabolism is not functioning properly. I'll actually talk a little bit later about a little bit more about sleep, but it's a sign that we need to wake up and say, hey, the metabolism's not right. I need to do something different. So that's another thing. Constipation, slow bowels. This is another sign of the metabolism not functioning properly. This affects a lot of different things. Nutrient synthesis, protein absorption. All these things are affected in that state. So when you have a low bowel system and a lot of constipation, water management is also affected. Water management has a lot to do with the cellular structure and how it's working in the body. Remember, the metabolism is all about cellular function in the body. So the chemical processes that are happening at the cellular level is the key of metabolism life, and we need to make sure that's optimized. This is just yet another sign when you're constipated and have slow bowels that that system is not running very well. So we want to make sure that we take care of that. Bloating after eating. Another big sign that there's a metabolic issue going on is when you're bloating after you eat. That's a sign of digestive disorder. That's all could be a sign of water management, inflammation, food sensitivities. A lot of things can be happening in that state. So we have to make sure that we're addressing those things specifically when we address the metabolism. But the first thing is to understand this is yet another sign my metabolism isn't working properly and I need to do something. Mood issues. Talked a little bit about libido, talked about sexual reproduction systems. Hormonal control in the body can affect mood. Depression, norepinephrine, all these types of things, neurotransmitters in the body. A lot of things happen in control of the metabolism, and when it's suboptimal, suppressed, the moods can start to come up because the system isn't balanced. The hormones aren't balanced, and we're starting to get moody. I have a lot of people that come to me and they talk about, man, I don't understand. I'm angry and I have no reason why. That would be a good sign that the metabolism's not running properly, and we need to take a good step to figure out what that is. Struggling to lose weight. Huge, huge, huge subject in America today, in the world today. Struggling to lose weight is an issue that is involving the entire metabolism. We'll talk a lot more about that, but I'll tell you, it's a major sign if you can't lose weight that your metabolism is way off balance. The control systems that we'll talk about with fat storage and fat burn are off-center, and we are not optimized, and it's going to cost you long-term if it's never rebalanced, and we've got to make sure we do that. Excessive thirst is yet another one. Having a problem to actually quench that thirst. If your cells are always screaming for water, the things that you're doing aren't getting water into the cells, and guess what? That's where it's the most important to be. That's where it's fueling the body. The water's like gas in your cells, and we need to get it there. And if there's poor cellular salts around the structure, poor vitamins, poor minerals, poor actual control at the cellular level and the cellular membrane of the body, it is got to be addressed to get you to an optimal position. So we've got to definitely take care of that. Trouble concentrating, cognitive thought, another major issue. It's a signal that we don't have a really balanced metabolism. So another big thing. Constant allergies is another one. I have a lot of patients right now that are faced with allergies, and a lot of allergies have to do with digestion, with liver function, key. Liver function for sure. How the body can filter out. Kidney function as well. There's a lot of things that relate to allergies. It's not always just a food allergy. It's an understanding that your body has something it can't actually address. That's a metabolic system weakness, and we've got to take care of that. Low energy. I talked about chronic fatigue and sleep. Low energy is a big thing. We talked about that already. And then here's another one that a lot of people don't recognize, that there may be a metabolic issue. If you're sick a lot, or if you get sick after you've been sick, if you have reoccurring sickness, in other words, those are signs that your system is not actually running optimally. The metabolism is weak, and we've got to make sure to address that, because remember, the metabolism has to do with the immune system function. So we have to make sure that we address the whole picture and not just little components along the way. So those are some major signs to know if your system is off course, if your metabolism is not on course. So what do we not want to do when we find out these things? When we have a list of these things that are going on in our life, what is one of the first things they do? One of the first things people do is they go on a diet. They try to detoxify, or they try to diet and lose weight. It's amazing, but it's an every time thing. One of the worst things you can do first if you have a metabolism that's not working properly is cut your calories and go into a starvation diet. Calorie control strategies alone do not work. We know this. For years we've known this. It's not going to solve the problem. In fact, it'll cost you. Low calories have a negative impact on fat loss. They have a negative impact on how the body functions. You've got to make sure that is not a strategy that's going to work. Cellular function depends on nutrients. We've got to make sure that they are all delivered to the cell structure, and they've got to be in the body to do that. So that's one big key. You got to stay away from card trick and one for all systems. That's a huge thing. When those types of things come along, they are a card trick. And what I mean by that is there's something from the outside coming into the body that manipulate how the body's metabolism is going to work. You may get a great result for 2 months, but as soon as you're done manipulating, in other words, what I always say, as soon as the card trick is over, so's the solution. And you're back to the same imbalance that you had when you started. Not a wise choice, because in the long run, it'll turn around and bite you in the butt, and your metabolism will even be in a worse state than when you started. So you're chasing your tail, and it's not a good strategy. Programs that aren't specific to you. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, because there's so many systems out there that are telling you, we have technology, we have this, we have that. It's specific to you. Yet there's nothing in it that utilizes a specific ideal of your body. How is it tested in your body? Is there a blood-based test? Is there a biocommunication test? Is there electrodermal screening going on? What are they really doing, or are they just actually asking you questions on a survey? That is a big thing to understand, because those are the big things that trick you into going into a short-term solution and a long-term component problem. And we've got to make sure we don't do those things, because we want long-term success. We want you to be vibrant for a long period of time, not just for 2 months. So that's a major issue. And then the other thing is, just try to lose the number on the scale. When you're doing anything at all to try to lose the number, or if you're doing something just to try to sleep more, or if you're doing something just to try to get your energy up, please understand that that is just a symptom of the problem. And the problem is your metabolism. We've got to understand how that's working. And that takes a body composition type of analysis, or what we call a health transformation analysis in our office. It has to understand a lot of components: cellular hydration, metabolic age, what's the state of adipose fat, which is subcutaneous, or the hips and thighs and buns, what's the state of visceral fat in your body, the fat wrapped around your organs, what's involved with detoxification in your body. There's so many components to making sure you're addressing the entire metabolism, because it's a big system in your body. It's everything. And so we want to make sure that we're not doing systems that don't address you specifically in its entirety. So what to do to revitalize the metabolism? That's why you're on here tonight, is to understand how can I revitalize my metabolism in a natural way. Number one, stop dieting. Stop doing the low-calorie diets. If you're doing something that's below 1,200 calories, it's below your basal metabolic rate, as we say, which is how much your calories you need to just sit and not move. Those are really, really not advisable. They're not great strategies, and we have to make sure that that is addressed. And actually, it can lead to starvation, and nutrient density is lost at the cellular level. So we've got to understand that when we're doing these types of things, we're actually setting our bodies up for failure in the long term and for future systemic issues that we don't want to have. Number two, get rest. I talked about sleep earlier. I said I would come back to this. I really want to talk about that here. It's important that you're getting your sleep. Remember, your body heals when you're sleeping. And so the system rebalances, takes control of issues, detoxifies. There's a lot of things that happen while you're sleeping that you're not aware of because you're in that a lovely sleep. So you have to make sure that your sleep is sound and that you have issues that they're addressed, because we have to understand, one of the things I love when I talk about sleeping issues in our office is I ask them, what is the real problem? Because there's two real ways to do this when it comes to sleep. Are you having trouble falling asleep? Having trouble falling asleep indicates that there's a hormonal issue in your body. That has to do with hormones, that has to do with imbalances in the metabolism, and it's something that has to do with the systems. Thyroid system, adrenal system, there's a lot of different things. And I always talk about adrenals as a system or thyroid because there's other organs, hormones, neurotransmitters, all these things are part of that system. It's not just one organ that we have to address. So that's one big thing to understand. And other things is if you're having a hard time staying asleep, that typically is an indicator that we have really big digestive issues going on. Because if your body's using a lot of energy to digest while you're sleeping because you've snacked late or you've eaten late and you've eaten something that's going to take a long time to digest, here's an amazing fact that most people don't even realize. When you eat a piece of bread, it takes the same amount of energy to digest that bread in your body as it does to cut a quart of wood. Now, a lot of people might not know what a quart of wood is, but it's a big chunk of wood for a fireplace. And that is an amazing thing to understand because if you're eating late and your body's trying to digest, sleep will not actually be very sound and you won't be able to heal because your body's digesting rather than putting that energy to healing. So there's a lot of things to understand about sleep, and we've got to make sure we address the right things, and that takes a discussion between the practitioner and you. So it's very good to understand that. Exercise is another very good thing. But I'll tell you what, we want to stay away from going to the gym, beating it down on the weights, and doing those types of things. I am a huge proponent of what I call specific functional movement exercises for your body. We have to do an analysis and understand where the functional movements are not optimized and develop a program that's going to help you not only get results from exercising, but strengthen the inabilities of your structure to be at its best. It's very important. Squat testing, push-up testing. Where are the true weaknesses? Where are the muscle issues in your body that we can strengthen so that you are what I call synergistically strong, not just looking buff. There's a big difference. So we want to make sure we do that. I'm also a big proponent of burst training and rebounding. Burst training will really do a very good job at helping your body optimize fat burn structures while you're exercising, and rebounding helps your lymphatic system, which helps your immune system and your body be healthier by detoxifying at its best. So these are the big steps. So when it comes to exercise, specific functional movement based, rebounding, and burst training. Major components of the right type of exercising for your body. So we have to make sure exercise, just like I've talked about everything else, is specific to you. Not just the same thing that everybody else is doing in the gym. So we want to make sure that takes care of it. The other things we need to do is we have to make the correct nutritional plan. What are the right foods for your body? This is a huge issue because everybody digests and takes in nutrients differently. No one's the same. So something that may be right for you to eat may not be right for someone else. But more importantly, if somebody else is on a diet plan and they're getting great results, it may not work for you. And the reason is because you digest quite differently, and you have to understand that is a major difference. We have to make sure we utilize some type of a testing or technology to tell us specifically how are your cells going to absorb the nutrients you're going to give it. A major component, and we have to make sure we address that. We utilize the correct supplement plan as well. That's the next thing to talk about. So many people guess here. They don't test. They say, well, my mom had a great result with this vitamin D, so I'll take it. Or I'm feeling low in energy, so I'm going to get this B complex because everybody else seems to get good luck with it. That doesn't mean it's going to be the best for you. And I always talk about what are you deficient in, because if you are sufficient in what you're taking becomes a toxin in the body, and a lot of times stored in more fat. So there's a lot of things that happen in the body to understand what are you deficient in. Test, don't guess, know that you know, and develop a specific vitamin, mineral, whatever plan you need supplementally to get your body at its best by solving its deficiencies and not creating more toxicity in the body. Major issue. Matter of fact, I actually just recently last month did a one of these Facebook Live events about supplements. It was great information. If you haven't caught that, check that out as well. It's on the Facebook page. Should be on YouTube this week. So we'll get that up as well. What systems and organs are out of balance in your body? Another major component. How do you understand that? How does a technology or how does a test show you that? That's something you really want to understand. Is it my immune system that's weak? Is it my digestive issue that's weak? Is it some other type of system? Is it an endocrine issue that we have? What are the real issues that you have in the body, and how do we address those and take care of them? Another major component. And that's typically why I talk about body imbalance. It is our health transformation system. It is truly amazing. It is a cellular transformation that reboots the metabolism and gets it completely, because it addresses your body in its entirety, control, whole. So what we talk about, all these things I talked about, nutrition plan, calorie structure, exercise, all these types of things are amazing, and it takes on an amazing transformation in your body, because all these things that I was talking about are also addressed in that system. So if you're interested in that system, let our office know immediately, because this is cellular restoration, it's system rebalancing, it's metabolic transformation. And here's the great thing. I can do this anywhere in the world. If you have friends, if you have family, if you have someone that wants to do a complete transformation of their metabolism, addressing all the things that we talked about tonight, we can do that. So let us know, comments below, private message us, call us at the office, whatever we can do to help you. We want you to be vibrant, and I hope this information this evening has helped you become a little bit closer to that. If you have questions about anything that I've talked about tonight, make sure that you put them in the comments or PM us. We will take care of them immediately and make sure that you get the information you need. The other thing I will tell you is that I have the newsletter coming out. It's going to be coming out this week. I've been wrapping it up. It's good stuff. This is a great newsletter. You're going to love the offers in it. You're going to love the information, the recipes, some great stuff coming out here. Don't miss it. If you don't get it, or if you're not signed up for our newsletters, you can go on our website at blhcjax.com and sign up on our website for that newsletter. If that doesn't happen, comment, PM us, get a hold of us. We want to make sure that information gets to you. So I hope you're having a great Saturday night. I hope you enjoy springing forward. Spring forward with a vibrant metabolism, and we will make sure that you're healthy. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.